I've been thinking about something lately, and I haven't really gathered all my thoughts on the subject. I haven't analyzed it too long, but I've been thinking about it for a couple days. And something I want to talk about is the difference between anything versus everything. And then finally, what people are really forgetting. You see, from a young age, we're told, and we'd love to tell our children too, you can do anything. You can do anything you want to do. And that's, I mean, there of course, there's within reason, right? I mean, come on. Not everybody can be an astronaut. Not everybody can be Neil deGrasse Tyson. Not everybody can be Muhammad Ali. Not everybody can be Bill Burr. Not everybody can be Jimmy Page. But within reason, depending on resources, and I don't just mean resources as in just money, although money is can help you along the road to get to those things. So we tell people, you can do anything. Yeah, empowered. Yeah, I can do anything. And you especially see this when it comes to the females. Sorry, ladies, just, everybody tell your daughters they're beautiful and they can do anything, and, okay. We tell our sons that too, but I think that fathers, at least decent ones, try and teach their young ones too that you have to work for these things. You have to try and earn them. You just say, well, I can do anything. Well, sure, okay. Start doing it then, right? Oh, yeah, well, that's now is when the excuses. Well, I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I don't have the what, and then that's where it kind of starts me to think about what people. So we tell people they can do anything or be anything. But then there are some people when you talk to them and you're like, well, what do you want? And basically the answer comes back, well, everything. Right? I want the car, the house, the education, a great career, time off. I want to travel. I want to feel creative and be artistic. I want my job to be rewarding. I want my family to be rewarding. I want a house or a husband or a wife and 2.5 kids and a dog and friends and a pool in my suburban backyard and 2 cars in the driveway. And I don't want to have to worry about, job security, things like that. All these things. I mean, who doesn't want these things, right? Everybody wants these things. Hell, I'd take that list. I'll take it. But to achieve those things, you got to start somewhere. You got to start doing it, and you really got to have that that long-term goal. Not even just 5-year goal. Not even 10-year goal. You're have a picture of who and what you really want to be and try and get there. And it doesn't mean every day you're sitting there going, how do I get there today? How do I get closer to my goal? I guess maybe that should always kind of be in the back of your mind. But also, who do you want to be for you? Who are you? Who are you going to be in this world? Are you just the person with the car and the house and the education and the great career and all those things I mentioned? Or are you a reasonable and also respectable person? Are you some primitive brute that just, someone pisses you off, I'll punch you in the face? Or are you some, don't say mean things because it makes me sad? Is that the kind of person you want to be too? I think that there's a lot of people that have that problem nowadays. They don't have the intellectual capacity to hear anything that might hurt their feelings or their worldview. Then they just block and ignore and call you an idiot and try and get a consensus from their friends that you're an idiot, and there you go. Now they feel better about themselves, but that's probably another video. I think what we also really want is respect. We want to be respected, and a lot of people think, well, if I have the car and the house and the great education and the great career and it's artistic and I can travel on vacation, then I'll get respect or attention. And so some people seem to want attention more than they actually want respect. But starting from you can do anything, then believing that you're on the path to having everything, and then what happens is that you find out that maybe after 20 years, some of these people are sitting here going, well, I could have done anything I wanted to. And then they want to blame, oh, well, I couldn't though because, I had kids or, whatever. I couldn't finish school or whatever. And then they just kind of just stopped there. And that's the problem with everything, is that it's really not possible to have everything. You can't have everything. The stuff I listed there, you can have a little bit of each of those things, but you can't have all of them in full, cranked up to 11 the whole time. You can't have that perfectly pristine car with that perfectly pristine house with that perfectly great job that you just every morning you wake up and this is fucking great and everything. And when I get home, my kids are happy to see me and I can give them anything I want, and some of these, and I think we kind of know that. But the problem is that when you are in the pursuit of everything, you can only devote a certain amount of resources to gaining each of those things. And now gaining each of those things as one person is harder than trying to attain them with two. But with two people, now you kind of have to agree on, well, what is it that we both kind of want, and work on at least those common goals, right? But what I'm finding is that people are around my age right now are kind of waking up and looking around and going, fuck, I've got like nothing. I don't have a car. I don't own a house. I don't have an education. I mean, and the education thing, yeah, it is just a fucking piece of paper. I don't even just mean the school education. I mean a real, like, a life education too. Because people, the people with their fingers in the ears shelter themselves, because so real education and really knowing people and respecting people, and that's an education in itself too. Some people like to say, I come from the school of hard knocks. Fuck off. That's not an education. That's just fuck. That's another video. But even when you attain some of these things, when you do get the house and the car and the job, I think what a lot of people then forget is that you have to maintain those things. So you're still always dividing up your attention and your resources to each of these little things. And the more things that you want, the everything, if you wanted everything, the little the slices that you can devote to gaining each of these things become smaller. Until when you say everything, well, then you're talking about these little slivers of this pie that you can devote to not only attaining, but then maintaining those things once you actually kind of get one of them, or two of them, or three of them. And this might even be related to, when people say the pursuit of happiness, because really that's what we want at the end of the day, right? Everybody wants to be happy. And we think if we have all those things, we'd be happy. And man, it would be a hell of a lot easier to be happy if you had those things. Absolutely. But that's a philosophy that I'm not really going to go down the road with tonight. What I want to talk about, what I'm really trying to get at, is if you stand there with your fingers in your ears going, I can do anything. Okay, well, what are you going to do? What do you want? I'm going to do everything. I want everything. I want everything. Okay. And then I think the main thing that people forget to fucking do is something. Do something. Focus on something for a while. This doesn't mean today for an hour. It means like, and sure, if you're focusing on an education or something, say you're going to school, yeah, maybe you got to spend some time at school and you got to do some studying after school. But I mean, you want something. You have to devote time and energy and resources to that thing. And if you're devoting time, resources, and energy to getting all of those things at once, you are going to epically fucking fail. Okay? And this is what I think that parents and teachers and stuff, I think, try and teach us from when we're young, is that there are steps. You have to take steps to do things, and you kind of have to do things in reasonably the right order. Okay? Like, I'm sorry, but if you had kids before you finished high school, wrong order. If you had kids before you got married, wrong order. If you decided that you were gonna just, I don't want the wife and the kids or the husband and the kids or anything. No, I want my education and I want to have a good time. This is a big one. One of the things that people want as part of everything, a big part of that pie, is fun. I want fun. Entertain me. And attention, fun. That's got to be a big piece of the pie. So you're saying, I want everything, and you get this pie, and you can only divide it up. So the slices are so big, but you want this big chunk to be like, oh, it's fun and enjoyable and fucking great, right? And and when I say selfish, I mean it's selfish in a way. I mean, we're all allowed to be selfish. Be selfish. It's okay. It doesn't necessarily mean it's when you're a cunt about it. Well, you don't give anything to anybody, and you just then I mean that's the selfish in the bad word. But we have to be cognizant of what we want, what we need, and the things that focus on us. If you need some alone time, you're not selfish. Someone might call you that if they don't feel like you are, giving them enough time. Well, you're just selfish. Fuck off. Everybody has needs, right? So, with a lot of people don't really want to hear this because then they think about the things that they, maybe didn't focus on or didn't do in the right order, and then what they find out is that they're just fucking sitting there. They're depressed. Maybe their addiction or something like that. And don't get me wrong, man. Depression and addiction flow through me, my friends. I ain't judging. But you have to work towards something, like a goal of who you want to be, and these things will actually come if you do that. If you just focus on getting the house, well, you might do weird things that aren't necessarily the right things to get the house. Like, you might just go, well, it's a perfect example. A girl that marries a guy because, well, he's got some money. He seems like he'd be an alright dad. I mean, I got to give up some of this fun, maybe be a little bit bored because it's not exciting anymore. And, we got to have kids and work through this and try and survive. And it's hard. You can't. It's not that easy to just have a couple kids and then be like, life's not a fucking movie. So if you have kids young, then your life is going to be harder. If you have kids without a partner, or a husband, or a real partner, not trying to turn a hoe into a housewife. Okay? Tried it. Doesn't work. Do something. Do something. Stop being a snowflake. Fucking do something. I was just talking to a neighbor yesterday. I just met him. Had a few drinks with some other guys, some other neighbors and stuff. We had a few beers. Smoked a little pot. Having a good time. And for a few minutes there, people came over here for a little bit too, and then they when they left, this guy was here, and in a couple minutes, the guy, we realized that we had a lot in common. He likes science and math and physics and things like that, right? And I think maybe it was the telescope or something that got us talking about it, and then he asked me what I did, and computers and all that sort of shit, right? Electronics and whatever. And within a few minutes, this guy, he's 27 years old, he's fucking crying. Fucking crying. About how bad the world is, and how he's not happy, and how come he doesn't have anything, and I realized that he hasn't done something, right? Now, I did ask, I said, well, you really like physics. What did you do for that? Well, I went to university for physics. I said, oh, great. Did you finish that? No. And I'm like, hey, man, fuck. Not everybody finishes, but, so, what, and also I made the point, too, well, okay, going to school and getting a degree in physics, I mean, unless you're going to be a physics professor, or somehow become a famous astronomer like Neil deGrasse Tyson or something like that. Like, come on, there's not a lot of places are looking for. Man, we really need a physicist. That's what we need. We had, besides maybe the government or military or science like NASA or something like that. They need a physicist, but. You also have to, so when you're trying to do something, you have to do something reasonable. It has to have value. Because if you're trying to do something that doesn't have value, you're not going to have the car and the money and the education because you're not going to have money. You have to try and do something of value too. Which means, you might not just be doing pure physics, but you kind of have to do something maybe physics related. Maybe you get into electronics. Maybe that's your thing. Maybe it is computers. I mean, those things right now are very fucking valuable. I always had an interest in those things. Ever since I was a little kid. I mean, one of my first computers was a TI-99. God, and then a Commodore 64, and some computers and electronics have been my life, man. I fucking love that shit. It's my passion. And I have the artistic stuff too, right? With the wrong shoulder, camera reversed. I do the artistic stuff too, and I'm not bad at that either. I'm not gonna be, famous fucking guitar player, but I can get that enjoyment out of it. And but I focused on electronics and technology and computers, and I quickly realized there is fucking value here, and this was. Back in the early 90s, and with some great encouragement from a couple great teachers, I decided on something. That was my goal. I wanted to have and I didn't say I wanted to be a business systems analyst. I was like, I want a job that pays pretty damn good, that I can still have my passion for computers and electronics. I know there's going to be shit that comes along with it that I'm not really going to like the politics and whatever the fuck else that you have to fucking deal with in life. But, I still had that kind of goal that's what I wanted to be. So when I asked this guy, so what did you want to be? I mean, well, it's a physicist. Well, no, it doesn't work like that. I mean, it does, I guess, for a few people, right? But, then he stopped, and I forget why. I didn't even really get into it, because the fact is that since then, I don't even know how far he got with the university or whatever. Even if he would have got the full fucking blown degree and maybe even got his master's or something, and then who knows, maybe went on to be a PhD. I mean, you can be an engineer. People will pay for an engineer. Hey, can you make us a road? But just pure theoretical physics and applied physics. I mean, how desperately does a company need to know even something like, well, what's the speed of light? I mean, unless you are doing something with lasers or something, and whatever. It's just an example. These are pretty far-flung, really high up, type of jobs. You got to find something a little bit more reasonable, I think. I mean, if you got the money and you've got the resources to be able to devote and be a physicist and get your PhD and all that sort of shit, yeah, then you'll be doing all right someday. But for the most of us, and this again comes back to the reality of anything versus everything, it's kind of like if you're going to do that, if you want to get to that level, you got to basically put everything into that one thing, at least for like 10 years, right? You can't fucking go around having kids and partying. You gotta, you know, and also having a house and paying the bills and all that sort of shit. I mean, you're gonna basically be in school, and if you don't have the money, you're gonna be racking it up with student loans, and by the time you come out anyway, and so then you have your PhD and you're happy, and now you're like, yeah, I'm a physicist, I'm a doctor of physics. That's fucking awesome. That's great. Good for you. But that doesn't happen for most people because, again, we have limited resources, maybe even in our mind. You might like physics, you might be able to get the bachelor's degree, but maybe you can't get the PhD. Maybe you don't have the time, money, and energy either. You know, so you have to slice up the pie, you have to devote some resources, but do fucking something. Because I'll tell you what, if you fucking wake up and you're fucking 40 years old, and you really haven't done anything, you have no real skills, you're still, don't offend me, and this is how you live your life, and then you start pouring the booze on top of it, and then, or whatever the hell your addiction is, and again, not judging, just saying, to, you know, make yourself feel better and have that fun. Just don't want that big fun pie. And then you're sitting there going, I've done nothing, and it's a really strong thing to say, but there's a lot of people out there that these would be the same people that would say no regrets. I've got no regrets. I'm a strong fucking person and all this. I'm independent and all this fucking shit. Just trying to reinforce in their own mind that they've done all the right things. I could have done anything. I wanted everything, and hey, look. I mean, you do have a roof over your head, hopefully, and maybe you got a car. It might not be the best car, but. What do you have? What do you have? You have to. Where are your skills? Where's the confidence in yourself to know that you have something of value too to offer the world? Not just for your selfish desires, but for what can you offer the world? If you want to be a philosopher, fine, go be a philosopher, but offer some philosophy to the world too. You know, or if you want to be in computers and electronics, well, you can't just. You have to have something of value. You have to bring something, and that comes with experience too. And experience comes from trying to do something for many, many, many years. That's what experience is, and that's why it's so important, and even more important than that piece of paper. That gets you in the door, gets you started. You need the experience, and you got to focus on something. You got to try and get there. And so, Generation Entitlement, Generation Snowflake has been told they can do anything. What do you want? Everything. What have you done about it? Something? More often than not, nothing. And if you were doing something, did you do it in the right order? Did you you didn't have that figured out, did you? You just went, fuck, I'm just winging it. And then guess what? It didn't, it kind of, hey, it's hard to stay. It's hard to keep, things on the road. It's hard, shit, life happens sometimes, but I also think people, life happens, shit, yeah, well, life can happen, yeah, it can happen, shit comes along and just fucking, a hurricane blows your fucking house down, or your wife dies, or your kid dies, or something, life happens, your parents die, and then you're struggling or whatever, and life does happen. But I'll tell you what, life happening isn't it seems to be a go-to excuse for a lot of people, and it really is kind of just an excuse a lot of the time. It's just, life happens. Went to the school of hard knocks. Okay. But, so did you keep focusing on something? And hey, we all get knocked down, and it might be hard to keep moving and stumbling around and trying to keep going, but you got to do something. You got to do something. Because if you don't do something, that you can be proud of at the end of the day, that you can get value out of and even give to the world or provide value to somebody else or anything like that, then you really have nothing. And back to the hard things to say is I think a lot of people are at that point and they're just like, I was supposed to have everything by now. And then you look around and you're like, oh man, wow, I didn't have the energy for this, that, and the other, and so those things started to fail. And now, why are me and my spouse not getting along? Well, you didn't have as much energy to focus on that because you were focused on something else, and that's okay. But you still got to try and maintain those things, which is why saying that you can do anything has its limits. Saying you want everything should definitely have its fucking limits. When someone says I want everything, you should fucking slap them in the fucking face. And then say, well, you know what? Why don't you just start doing something? Have a good night. I'm not even drinking tonight. Just wanted to say that. Have a good night.